This Liberty Sports Update is brought to you by Beacon Credit Union.
Yes, the bye week was very productive for us. Our message to our young men was get opportunity to relax. Going really 8 weeks, as hard as they went, I was very proud of them. Told them opportunity to relax. Got to retool, not only on the football field but in the classroom. Opportunity to make sure that they get their academics to where it needs to be, and then get re-energized. At the end of the day, we're very blessed to go into November and have a lot to play for. Like I stated a little bit earlier, that you got a lot of buddies in this profession. Half of them are not really playing for anything when it comes to being in November. So Coach Gill, myself, Coach Diddy, we all talked about, hey, remember November. And so young men came out Sunday with a lot of energy. We had a very good practice, a great tempo, and I think the young men are very thankful that we do have an opportunity to really leave a very good first year as an FBS program. So with that, I'll take any questions.
When we spoke last week, you said there were a lot of things that the players saw on tape that could be corrected. When you went through the practice Sunday, did you see that they had corrected those things so that way you're able to go gung-ho into the game plan against UMass?
Well, last Thursday, the young men practiced. I thought it was very great energy. Once again, we did do a good job of trying to address the issues that we need to get corrected. And, the young men flew around. We really had a good attention to detail practice on Tuesday, then Thursday, and then again on Sunday. And so I feel very good that the young men are really making an effort to try to get those things corrected.
When you watched the tape back from Idaho State, where were some of the breakdowns there? I mean, obviously there were some things that went well, with the sacks and TFLs, turnovers, but the things that didn't go well, I mean, just kind of tell me what you took away from it, good and bad. Well, the good was we was able to create turnovers. The other positive is I felt like we got good pressure on the quarterback. The things to take away that we must improve on is fitting our gaps. That was very disappointing. We had 5 plays in the run game that led to 180 yards. And so those things were easily corrected because it just really boiled down to young men doing what they were coached to do to fit the gaps within our front 7. And so that right there, I know we can get that corrected. We can get that cleaned up because it was not a schematic issue. And so outside of that, I felt like our young men played hard. We definitely got to continue to improve. But like I said, the energy that I saw on Sunday, our young men are excited to play.
Mark Whipple shared on his radio show last night, to him, the back end of the defense is making a lot of plays. Assess your secondary and where you see that growth coming from.
Well, we are improving. That's the thing. When you watch the film, you got to make a hard assessment. Of course, you don't like all the mistakes. But, the thing that I've learned is it really comes to gelling. You're starting to see young men now really learn more about me and Coach Roberts. We got some young men that came here in the summer and still trying to, learn more about us even on game day with adjustments. And so now I'm starting to see some young men really become more relaxed in the fire and know, okay, Coach Wimberly, Coach Roberts, this is how they teach, this is how they talk, this is how they make adjustments. And like I said, Sunday's practice, I almost feel like now we have another session with these young men, a lot of these young men that just came in with us. And what I mean by camp was really the first time we really got our hands on some of these young men. Now, with us having a bye week, it almost felt like another opportunity, a new session, to where now they really know who we are. And that's what you saw at practice on Sunday.
Over the bye week, as you had a chance to assess your defense, their performance through the first half of the year, just what was your assessment, and were some places that you need see areas for improvement?
The biggest area is consistency. You watch the film of our first 7 games, it's some good glimpses of where we can be really good. To my disappointment, we've just given up so many big plays. When you look at the big plays that we've given up, and then you look at the amount of plays where we played solid defense, it's very disappointing. Because in one way you would feel like you're struggling if it was just multiple plays of 10-plus, 15-plus yards. But we're talking about those plays are not as much as the 20-plus, 30-plus yard gains. And so in a way, in talking to a couple of my mentors, you get excited because it's not a four-quarter, just every series you can just expect a score. It's one of those that we may play good for 3-4 series, and then before you know it, 3 or 4 series we're giving up a touchdown. And those are the things we got to get cleaned up. So I'm excited because, we addressed it with our young men. Many of us coaches took some time to get them cut-ups that they can watch themselves and really dive into how they can improve and not allow us and our defense to give up so many big plays that lead to touchdowns. That's our issue right now, is that we got to eliminate the big plays. And going into these last 5 games is some things that we're going to put in place that I'm excited about, that I know will help us eliminate those big plays.
Last week's game against UConn for UMass, kind of a wash with the rain. You didn't really get a chance to evaluate everything Ross Comas can do as a quarterback now that he's got the full-time reign. What have you seen in him, like during the first few weeks, even prior years, that you can truly assess what he can do as a dual-threat quarterback?
He's a very capable starter. He manages the game well. I think the thing that he does is he's a dual-threat athlete. He can hurt you with his feet. He has a great way of understanding how to make a defensive guy miss. If he gets on the perimeter, he can be scary. And so we got to do a good job of keeping not only him in front, but also making sure we keep the proper angles on him. He does a great job of escaping the pocket. He's not a young man that panics. Even when you watch the UConn game, even with the rain, he was hard to take down. He was trying to throw the ball to his check down guy even in the rain. So he has a lot of confidence. He has good moxie, and I think that coaching staff has done a great job with him.
Coach, you just talked about limiting the big plays. Obviously, they've got one of the better receivers in FBS football. What does your secondary need to do to limit the big plays from him this week? We
got to do a great job of keeping the ball in front. I think the biggest thing that sometimes our back end or back end in general can do, and you've even seen it on film with previous opponents, is they do a good job of running the ball, and then play action pass. And he does a good job, even in the run plays, of running hard. And so what happens is he runs hard. It's a run play. He runs hard, and he does a stutter and go. And then you got the DBs, they'll lull, and before you know it, he gets behind them. So we got to do a great job. They do a great job of moving them around, trying to find the best matchup. And so we know, we spoke to our young men on Sunday. You're going to have to play your best game on Saturday to maintain and contain a very good receiver.
You mentioned the run game, and Marquise Young is one of those big, powerful backs, but also has a lot of speed, and he has some good bursts to take plays between the gaps and make him explosive plays. What's the key to containing him and making sure he is limited to 3 yards in a cloud of dust?
Well, it's just going to boil down to, like I said, fitting our gaps. We have to do and get back to just doing what you're coached to do. And that's what we did not do in the previous game. And our young men, I believe they've taken on the challenge to say, hey, you know what? When we played Troy, we fit our crease. We did what we were coached to do. We did a very nice job. When you don't do that, you think you know that you can cross-face and you shouldn't cross-face, it can lead to a big play. And so, once again, I really feel confident our young men took the film, took the coaching. They know that we want to be better, and I'm excited to see what we do on Saturday.
When you look at Jesse Lemonnier and the impact he's made, early on in his career here, does that surprise you at all? Is that something you expect out of him? And what is the ceiling for him as he kind of goes forward this year?
Yeah, Jesse, I'm not surprised. Jesse was a young man that he went to junior college in California, but he's really originally from Miami, and so I knew about him in high school. His brother, Corey Lemonnier, was a young man that I recruited a little bit when I was at my previous institution. So we had that connection. And so we knew that he can be dynamic. We knew that he can really be disruptive as a pass rusher. We knew he was going to be physical in the run game. And like I said, we just knew it was a matter of time for Coach Singletary to continue to work with him, get him acclimated to our defense. And I'm telling you, the light bulb is just coming on for him. He's really starting to understand what we want from him, how we want him to respond to certain fronts that we call. And so, yeah, the ceiling, it's scary that how good he really can be, because he's still just coming into it. He's really starting to realize what these splits mean. He's really starting to understand what the backfield sets mean and how to really play off those things. And I think we just seen just a little bit of what he's capable of doing in a game.
How does Isabella's, I guess, diversity or just ability to do a lot of different things, how can that impact the football game, and what are your impressions of him?
Well, I've been very impressed with him. He moves around so much in their offense. Coach Roberts, as well as myself last night, we said, man, what is his major? He's an engineering major. So when we found, Coach Roberts mentioned that to me this morning. I was like, well, that explains it, because he plays every position at a high level. He's not a young man where you see him at certain positions, see him make mistakes. And so that's a credit to how hard he works. And, you know, what it's going to boil down to, like I said, I feel like we got a very good plan. You know, and it's just going to boil down to our young men executing. I feel like our young men, DBs in the back end, are getting better and better each week. You know, and it's just going to boil down to your eyes. If you don't utilize your eyes and your technique, with the game being so spread out, it can lead to a touchdown. If you utilize your eyes and your technique, then it can lead to an incomplete or opportunity for our pass rush to get to the quarterback. And that's simply what it's going to boil down to, is keeping the ball in front, being disciplined with your eyes so we can execute at a high level.
When you look at what Austin Lewis has been able to do through the first 7 games and being able to make some significant improvement, especially the past couple of weeks, what have you seen out of him and what he's been able to do, and kind of take the teachings that he learned from Vince Redd over the offseason, what he's learned from Coach Singletary, to be able to become a elite pass rusher at this level?
Well, once again, it just boils down to him being able to grow. You know, he's been growing each week. Coach Singletary did a great job of developing him, allowing him to play in certain spots that we knew he could have some success as a true freshman. And once again, each game you saw the light bulb come on. And now, like I said, watching him out practice on Sunday, the way he was talking and communicating, he wasn't doing that in camp. I mean, he was talking loud about what he saw and what to expect. And so it's just, a maturation process for him. We always knew he was athletic. We always knew that he had opportunity to be special. And I think he took it upon himself once he realized that he was going to play and he wasn't going to be a 4-game redshirt young man. He took it upon himself to really get into that weight room. He also took it upon himself to really get in that meeting room with Coach Singletary as well as Jerron Wells. And I know Justin Lemonnier have done a great job of helping him understand the game.
Brandon Tillman looked okay coming back after him missing the last game?
Yes, he definitely looks okay. It was good to have him back. And I think the key for him is he understands how to play this game at a high level. And so, to see him back out there on Sunday, it was very fun.
How about your assessment of Corbin and how he played against Idaho State? Jackson.
I will say his assessment. He did a lot of good things. We had a tall task for him. We wanted him to really bird dog number 20 when it came to man coverage, and I thought for the most part he did a good job. And then at the end, technique. We talked about that. At this level now, you got to really work to get hands-on receivers, and when Corbin does that, he does a great job. I mean, his man coverage skills, and that's a big credit to Coach Wilkins, has really made us feel very confident that he can do it at a high level. But it's always about being consistent for 60 minutes.
Vince Redd, when he was here at Liberty, what have you seen similarities between him and Austin, since they're from the same neck of the woods? They're both about same height, same size. Do you see any similarities between the two?
Well, I do think Austin Lewis has opportunity to be on that same conversation as Vince Redd as he continues to grow and mature. I think right now the similarities are that his length, he can run. And now he's showing that he can be a student of the game. And for him just to be a true freshman and seeing what I saw on Sunday, where he was talking and communicating and really helping some of the other young men out, I think the sky is high, very high for Austin Lewis.
The next 3 games being on the road, 2 against Power 5 teams. I know you guys are focusing this week on UMass, as you should, but midweek, mid-year. How's that bye week done for you? I know you talked a lot about it, but as far as chemistry and the light bulb coming on, you got a lot of JUCO guys. What did you see about that defense that you're going to take over the next 3 weeks? It's going to be a grind.
Well, the biggest thing I'm taking is that I see our young men gelling. I see them really wanting to be good. Really wanting to be good. And, that's the one thing that at this late point in the season, when you're going in November, it's really about chemistry. It's really about chemistry. Do guys really want to still play football? Because it's a grind. They're dealing with academics. You got social issues, family issues. And so to see how some of our young men that I know dealing with some personal issues have chosen to still come and work hard and take care of their business and really try to help our team represent this university in a great way, I'm excited. I'm excited. I've been on the other side. Like I said before, I've been on the other side where it's just a grind just to get to Thanksgiving break. But now to have a group that really just coach whatever we need to do, however practice, how long it needs to be, if we need to come early, that's encouraging, and that's what we got in our young men on this football team.
Coach, you mentioned in your opening statement about it's great to have something to play for at this time of the season. How big is that for these young kids to have that bowl tie in there, kind of a carrot for them the rest of the year?
Well, I think it's very big because you start off in the summer, everybody has big aspirations, but then you start getting into the season. Then sometimes the season dictates to where in November, you may be at a program where it's just about finishing strong. Well, when Coach Gill says that to our team, it means something. We got a great opportunity to represent this university in a great way and do something that probably no one really expected when you're talking about opportunity to play for a bowl game. And so that motivates our young men. That motivates us coaches because we know we have something special. And like I said, Coach Gill's done a great job since July, since it's been announced. You take it one day at a time, but you always keep the vision before you, and that's what our young men have done thus far.
You take it one day, 1 week at a time, but this stretch coming up here, 3 games on the road, a couple Power Fives after this, do you feel like the bye week helped prepare them for what's coming up here, and how tough is this stretch going to be?
Well, I think the bye week came at the right time to allow young men to get re-energized. I think the key, like you said, this stretch, only thing I know right now is take it one game at a time, because if you start thinking about that, then it can sway you. But the one thing that I've learned in my coaching career is you better worry about this Saturday. But I do think, as we talked about earlier, is that when we're trying to keep our guys healthy, the bye week was right at the right time, because we all know, like you said, these next 4 to 5 games is going to be we're going to need every ounce of energy that we have to be successful.